Good evening, everyone. You've seen them, all those things that have changed because of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
They include bigger handicap parking spaces, ramps, automatic doors. That just is to name a few. This year marks the 25th anniversary since the ADA was signed into law. We
sent out our local news agency reporter, Bree Clark, to find out if the law is making a difference.
Well, thank you so much.
For more than 30 years, this wheelchair has been Joseph Ross's way of life.
I was shot with a 12-gauge shotgun at point-blank range back in '84.
Joseph still says he's lucky and every day he's alive is a miracle, even when being in a chair becomes difficult.
When you got a slant and all that, and you're in a chair and you're trying to operate the door and all that, it don't work out too well.
Wheelchair ramps are just one aspect of new regulations by the Americans with Disabilities Act. They're supposed to make things easier, and Ross says oftentimes they do. I even tried it out for myself, but I failed miserably. Simply going up a ramp to open a door or even crossing the street took a lot of effort, even with ADA regulations in place.
They've come a long ways in the last 25 years. We still have a ways to go.
Dean Nielsen is the executive director for Life Incorporated. He says over the years he's advocated for ADA regulations throughout eastern Idaho.
Disabilities are a natural part of life. The problem that we have is the attitude of society towards people with disabilities.
He says this is changing slowly. More awareness is making its way throughout the community, including local government.
It's very important for us to know that we're in compliance with ADA standards and to be able to make improvements along the way if something is not up to standard.
Lisa Ferris is the City of Idaho Falls liaison for the ADA Commission. She has worked with the Commission to make improvements around the city, like adding more convenient parking, wheelchair ramps, and curb cuts in the last few years.
Those standards have been revised along the way, regulated, mandated, and the city has followed those guidelines.
Since 2007, the City of Idaho Falls has made ADA improvements to the City Annex building, downtown parking, and curb cuts, as well as the 911 Center, Activity Center, and the zoo. Pocatello has also made major adjustments. Since 2011, the city has upgraded its playground, zoo, water system, the airport, transit center, and the community recreation center. Connie Sistrunk says the recreation center is one of the most ADA accessible places in the city, and with completely automatic doors and a lift for the pool, she says there are still improvements to be made in other places.
There's still some issues at, I would say, at the university. There's some spots there that you can't quite get across streets. They don't have all the handicapped ramps at all the crosswalks.
Sistrunk has used crutches for 10 years and recently started using a wheelchair when she leaves her home. Although she says regulations have improved over the years, her biggest concern comes from local retailers who won't listen to her plea for improvement.
I pretty much got my head bit off, and so there was some frustration there. You know, instead of saying thanks, I didn't realize, or we'll look into it.
Often Sistrunk is told her requests aren't required through ADA regulations, but she still feels they are important.
I think it's just, you know, if they're not in a situation, it's hard for them to realize how difficult sometimes it can be. If people would be willing even to sit in a chair that rolls, take an office chair and, you know, go out into your parking lot and see what it's like to try to get into your building.
Well, ADA regulations encompass more than physical changes. Under Title II of the Act, programs and other services are also provided.
I have learned so much about this in recent years with my father in a wheelchair now. And you're pushing him and you can't get the door open. They don't have automatic doors. Yeah. And then, you know, he tries to grab for it. And yeah, it can be a real challenge.
It's a new perspective.
It is a new perspective.
Yeah, you really understand that better. Well,